Good morning and welcome to True Talk. This is your host, Samar Jarrah, and listen to a very interesting interview with Maz Jobrani, a stand-up comedian from Persia. This is WMNF Tampa, 88.5 FM.
Now, being Iranian-American presents its own set of problems, as you know. Those two countries aren't getting along these days. So it causes a lot of inner conflict, like part of me likes me, part of me hates me. Part of me thinks I should have a nuclear program. The other part thinks I can't be trusted with one. These are dilemmas I have every day. But I was born in Iran. I'm now an American citizen, which means I have the American passport, which means I can travel. Because if you only have the Iranian passport, you're kind of limited to the countries you can go to with open arms, Syria, Venezuela, North Korea. So anyone who's gotten their passport in America will tell you, when you get your passport, it still says what country you were born in. So I remember getting my American passport. I was like, woohoo, I'm going to travel. And then I opened it up and said, born in Iran. I'm like, oh, come on, man. I'm trying to go places. But what's interesting is I've never had trouble traveling in any of the Western countries with my American passport, even though it says born in Iran, no problems. Where I've had some problems is in some of the Arab countries, because I guess some of the Arab countries aren't getting along with Iran either. And so I was in Kuwait recently doing a comedy show with some other American comedians. They all went through, and then the Border Patrol saw my American passport. Aha, American, great. And then he opened it up, born in Iran, wait. And he started asking me questions. He said, what is your father's name? I said, well, he's passed away, but his name was Khosrow. He goes, what is your grandfather's name? I said, he passed away a long time ago. His name was Jabbar. He says, you wait, I'll be back. And he walked away. And I started freaking out, because I don't know what kind of crap my grandfather was into. Thought the guy's gonna come back and be like, we've been looking for you for 200 years.
Shawarma. I am happy to say that we have on the phone with us Maz Jobrani, or the Persian Pink Panther. He is originally Iranian, American, born in Iran, and then came with his family to the U.S. When he was 6 years ago. He is an actor and comedian, actor, and part of the group Axis of Evil. Good morning, Maz.
Good morning. Actually, you said I came to America 6 years ago.
I said that?
I was 6 years old. Yeah, I was 6 years old. It wasn't 6 years ago.
But you're younger. Does it means that
I know.
So, Maz, tell me, what does Maz mean?
Well, Maz is actually short for Maziar. That's an Iranian name, and Americans had enough trouble with Maziar, so I went with Maz. And now sometimes they say Max, or they say Mark, and it's all very confusing. But I'm sticking with Maz.
I just finished reading your very, very funny and lovely book. I am not a terrorist, but I've played one on TV.
Yeah, thanks for reading it. I appreciate you doing that. A lot of people tell me that they read it pretty fast, and I wonder if that's a compliment or an insult. I feel like I need to put bigger words in the next books to make it harder to read. Okay, to be honest with you, I was listening to your book. I downloaded it on my iPad because I drive to get into the radio station. It's about 100 miles away, and you kept me laughing. So I was listening. That's great.
Yeah, and
that's
it's
even better.
And it's also wonderful to listen to the voice of the author, the way, for instance, you were making fun of the Arabic language and you say, I mean, I wonder how that is written in word, but I was listening to you and I was enjoying that, Maz. So I'm going to be asking you, of course, about your book and about touring and about being a comedian. But let me tell you, what on earth made an Iranian think of becoming a comedian? This is not the profession our parents as immigrants want us to be, and they want us all to be doctors, and then if not doctors, maybe lawyers.
Yeah, I had the same parents.
Immigrants came to this country, and I was 6 years old when I came to this country. I was 6 years old, and when you first come to this country, you try and blend in as much as you can. So I would do whatever it took to blend in. I would play baseball. I would eat apple pie. I would eat apple pie while playing baseball. Whatever it took. And things would be going great. I'd be at the playground playing with my friends, Sam, Brett, Jesse. Life is good. Sure, my name is Maz, but they don't know where that's from. They don't know, right? Everything's cool. Until my dad would come by to pick me up. And he would show up in his Mercedes-Benz, which is a standard Persian issue car. And he would have the car filled with the entire family. For some reason, we can't go anywhere with two of us. There's got to be like 50 of us in the car. I don't know why. Anytime you see a car filled with people, it's either Middle Easterners or Mexicans. It's one of those two. Even for short trips, my dad would be like, okay, everybody in the car. We're going 2 blocks to pick up Maz. Get grandmother in there. Get grandma, everybody. Get the rooster. Put the rooster in the car. Put the rooster. We can't leave the rooster at home alone. Rahim the rooster. Put him in the car. Put him in the car. And they would show up at the park, this car filled with people. I'd be like, oh my God, why'd they bring the whole village? And I wouldn't look. And then my dad would get out of the car and he'd be reeking of cologne, which we love to do. We don't like put on 2 sprays. We pour the whole bottle on ourselves, which is why Middle Easterners, we would never make good burglars. We'd not be good burglars. Because the homeowner would smell us in the middle of the night. They'd be like, is that Armani? I smell Armani. Like, I just came to rob one rug. I put on Armani in case, you never know. How are you? You good? Great. Good to see you. I did not know you lived here. How are you? Yes. Can I take the rug, please? I just want the rug. We'd never be good burglars because we pour that stuff on. So my dad would get out of the car, I'd be smelling him for 50 yards out. I'd be like, oh my God, why did he use the whole bottle? Still avoiding him. And then he would call for me with his thick Persian accent. He would call for me, Maziar! Time to go home! Let's go home! And I'd be like, oh my God, I don't know who that is. I think he's trying to kidnap me. That's Al-Qaeda in the car. And my father would be like, son, you should be proud. You should be proud, son. We are Persian, son. You should be proud. We had an empire. We had an empire. 2,000 years ago, we had an empire. Right now, it's being remodeled. Right now, it's more like a duplex. It's a duplex. But one day, empire.
And they wanted lawyer. And I just, since I was a kid, I became a big fan of Eddie Murphy's. When I was a kid, he became really big. And I remember watching him and saying, that's what I want to do. And then when I was 12, I got into a play in junior high school, and I loved being on stage. So I really wanted to do it, and I think I was pretty good at it. And as a matter of fact, my parents would come to some of the shows, and the director would come up afterwards and say, hey, your son really has a talent for this. And I don't think my parents really even understood. They would just smile politely, and then when we were in the car on the way home, they would turn to me and say, that woman's crazy. She doesn't know what she's talking about. So it was a lot of struggles back and forth, but it wasn't until I was in my mid-20s when I finally realized you live once and you got to live for yourself. And I went for it.
Actually, you were doing your PhD in political science. That's a different thing altogether.
Yeah, so kind of as a compromise, I didn't want to be a lawyer, which is what my parents wanted, and they didn't want me to be an actor and a comedian. So I decided maybe I'll be a professor, which would allow me to do something that I still enjoyed and be in front of people, and still it would be a respectable profession, because ultimately your parents want you to have a respectable profession. And I got into a PhD program at UCLA, and right away I realized that it wasn't for me. I started doing plays at UCLA again, and I was bitten by the acting bug again. And then when I told my mother finally, I said, listen, I'm dropping out of PhD. I'm going to go be an actor. she, coming from Iran where we had a revolution, she was worried, what happens if a revolution happens in America? You need to have a skill. So she said to me, listen, you're not going to be a lawyer. You're not going to be a professor. At least become a mechanic. And I said, how'd you go from lawyer to mechanic? There's a lot of jobs in between. She says, listen, if a revolution happens, you can go to Argentina and be a mechanic. She goes, people need mechanics. Nobody needs a comedian. And I think she's kind of right.
So let me go back about, talk about your book and talking about your childhood. I thought Arabs and Muslims in general have it hard when they are young and they go to school. And I don't know why I never thought of Iranians. Maybe because my only friend Iranian is Jewish, and somehow that made them made the people around them know that they are against the revolution, for instance. They never complained of their childhood. But talk about that, being young and in the middle of the being later on the axis of evil.
Well, it's interesting because I have a lot of Persian Jewish friends as well who did get in trouble. But because what happened was when the hostage situation happened, if you were a kid, a lot of kids in schools would pick on you. They didn't care what your background was in terms of your religion. It was just that you were Iranian, and back then they would call you an effing Iranian. So I remember being in the 4th grade, and there was a 6th grader who would pick on me, calling me an effing Iranian. And I would tell him, listen, dude, first of all, it's not Iranian, it's Iranian. Secondly, you're bigger than me, so it's whatever you want it to be. Thirdly, I don't know where you heard I'm Iranian. I'm actually Italian. That was how I joke about it in the book. But the reality is, it was hard because we'd already been uplifted and uprooted from our home in Iran and come to America. So it was a completely new world for us, and we were getting away from that regime. And then for the hostage situation to happen, and then kids to pick on us. We had nothing to do with it. If anything, we were against what was going on. But kids in school, they don't care. They're looking to pick on you. So there was a lot of that going on, and I would get teased, and my sister and aunt and any other Iranians in the school would get teased. And really, I grew up in a very white area. There wasn't a lot of other Iranians, so they would just kind of pick on us, and we got through. But I've heard of a lot of friends who actually were getting beaten up. There was people attacking people just for being Iranian. So it was a really crazy time.
It's funny, we spend time with our kids. My mom used to hit me when I was a kid. She used to hit me with hangers. Yeah, I'd be messing around. She showed up, oh boy, messing around, huh? Okay, let's go, it's hanger time. Oh, we're gonna go clean my closet? No, we're gonna go clean your attitude. Let's go. Nowadays, I would never hit my kid, but this is how sensitive we become as a society. I took my son when he was 2 years old, I took him swimming, and I gave him a strawberry to eat afterwards, and he almost ate it in one bite. He didn't chew, he just almost sucked it up in one bite. And I was like, no, what are you doing? You gotta chew, what's wrong with you? I was like, that's wrong. And then I realized I'm kind of dumb at that age. I was like, oh, he's so stupid. And I thought it would be fun to post it on my Facebook page. I said, hey, I just gave my kid a strawberry, he almost ate it in one bite. He's so stupid. It's just a fun little thing. People were so pissed. This is how sensitive we are as a society. People started posting on my Facebook. They're like, Maz, you're stupid. You're the stupid one, you stupid person. Don't call him stupid. I was like, I didn't call him. I put it on Facebook. My mom used to hit me with hangers. I wish she would have called me stupid. This is how sensitive we are. One person wrote, Maz, you should remove this post. He's going to grow up and find it and be hurt by it. He was 2 at the time. You know how much research you'd have to do by the time he's old enough to get on Facebook and find this post? You'd have to get on Facebook and be like, older post, older post, older post, older post, older post. 2 years later, older post, older post, older post. My mom never did that to me. When I moved to America, I was 6 years old. I barely spoke any English. My mom used to take me shopping with her to the department stores, and then she would just disappear. I swear, like at Macy's, she was just this, and you had to go to the cashier back then and ask them to page your mother on the pager system. I was constantly going, excuse me, my mother, where is my mother? I am from the Iran, no English. The lady would be like, would the lady whose kid doesn't speak any English come and get him, please? My mom would show up, what is wrong with you? I was 3 floors away. Let's go home, it's hangar time.
If you're just joining us, this is True Talk on WMNF, and I am talking to Maz Jobrani, who is the author of I Am Not a Terrorist, but I've played one on TV, and he is also a comedian. Did you actually play a terrorist on TV?
Yeah, that's where the title comes from. Early in my career, I did a Chuck Norris movie of the week, and I had a day job at an advertising agency, and I was hoping to find enough TV work that I could get, TV and film work that I could quit my day job. So I auditioned for and got the part to play an Afghan terrorist who comes to America to blow up a building in Chicago. And this was before September 11th.
No.
And I had to struggle for a minute. I thought, should I do this? Should I not do this? And then I thought to myself, I'll do this. A, it'll help me get out of my day job. And B, I'm going to show through my acting why this guy is doing what he's doing. I'm going to bring some humanity to this character to show that maybe he had a traumatic childhood, and therefore he's here to wreak havoc in America. And I went to the wardrobe fitting for this, and they go, here's your shirt, here's your pants, here's your turban. And I said, oh, no, actually Afghans in America don't wear turbans. I said, Indian Sikhs wear turbans, Afghans don't. I said, let's get it right. And the wardrobe girl was like, this is a Chuck Norris movie. I don't know what you're talking about because we're not that specific. And then I said, listen, just do me a favor. Tell the producers that I've done my research. We should at least do it right. And then the next day I went to my dressing room, and there was my shirt, my pants, and what looked like a scarf. And I thought, oh, that's no problem. I'll wear a scarf. I don't mind wearing a scarf. And she said, no, that's not a scarf. That's the turban. You just got to wrap it back up. So I did it, and I felt really stupid doing it. And so then I went to my agents. I said, no more terrorist parts. And then the TV show 24 came along, and they said, we have a terrorist part. I said, no, thank you. And they go, but he changes his mind halfway through the mission. And I go, ooh, the ambivalent terrorist. That's very interesting. So I did that part as well, and then I stopped taking terrorist parts or auditions for terrorists. I haven't done one in over 10, 15 years about.
So when you wanted, like initially, before doing these acting stints, you really wanted to be a stand-up comedian, or your career didn't launch with these roles that you went to stand-up comedy?
No, I started both at the same time. I started acting when I was 12 years old in school, and I was doing plays, and I loved being on stage. And then I always wanted to do stand-up, but I was scared of it because when you do a play, if something doesn't go right, you can blame another cast member, or you can blame the director, the writer. Not that you go around blaming them, but I'm saying in your own head, you could think, oh, it wasn't just my fault, it was everybody's fault. But when you're doing stand-up, it's just you, and it's all your written material. So I was really intimidated by it as a kid. So when I was 17, I almost did a stand-up show, and then I chickened out. And then in my early 20s, I did some stand-up, but then I didn't continue to pursue it. So I always wanted to do stand-up as well. So the moment that I decided to get back into acting in my mid-20s, I started taking an improv acting class. And while I was there, I met a lady who taught a stand-up comedy class. So I took that as well. So they kind of were going hand in hand. It was just that I was getting some TV work early on, but my stand-up was in the comedy clubs, the coffee shops, one time in a strip club. Wherever there was a show, I would do it. And then it wasn't until, you got to do stand-up for like 5 to 10 years before people start noticing you and before you start getting good. So it wasn't until we did the Axis of Evil comedy tour that came out of 2007 that people knew me started to know me as a stand-up. But But I've been doing stand-up since 1998, so it was already a good 9 years in.
There is something interesting that you mentioned in your book, that you say no matter what, people expect you to say something about Iran, even if you're not political, even if there is nothing going on at that day or week or night. Somehow Iran has to be with you during comedy. And I think later on, maybe after September 11, you added in other comedians, because we've had other like Ahmed before and Dean Obeidallah before. Politics comes in, the Arab world comes in, the Islam comes in. How do you weave all that into your comedy? How can politics become funny?
Well, ultimately, I like to talk about whatever interests me at any given point. So once I started doing stand-up comedy, first I was talking about just being an Iranian in America and growing up Iranian in America. But then once September 11th happened and the Bush administration started leading us into war with Iraq and putting Iran into the axis of evil and all this other stuff, I realized that, oh, wow, there's a lot to talk about here. And I think that one of the jobs of stand-up comedy is to try to expose the hypocrisy or to poke holes in some of the policies of political leaders. So for me, really, during the Bush administration, I had Bush on one hand and I had Ahmadinejad on the other hand. It was comedy gold. They just kept giving. And nowadays, if people come to my show, they'll see I talk a lot about my kids. It's not as much. I mean, there's always still some political and some social commentary in it. But right now I have young kids, a 6-year-old boy and a 4-year-old girl, so they preoccupy my mind a lot and kind of what I'm talking about today.
Let's listen to some excerpts of your comedy, and to our listeners, we are talking to Maz Jobrani, and I just finished reading or listening to his book, I'm Not a Terrorist, but I've played one on TV, so let's listen.
But as you can see, when I talk, I speak with an American accent, which you would think as an Iranian-American actor, I should be able to play any part, good, bad, what have you. But a lot of times in Hollywood, when casting directors find out you're of Middle Eastern descent, they go, oh, you're Iranian, great. Can you say, I will kill you in the name of Allah? I go, I could say that, but what if I were to say, hello, I'm your doctor? They go, great, and then you hijack the hospital. Like, I think you're missing the point here. Don't get me wrong, I don't mind playing bad guys. I want to play a bad guy. I want to rob a bank. I want to rob a bank in a film. I want to rob a bank in a film, but do it with a gun, not with a bomb strapped around me, right? Because I imagine the director, Maz, I think your character would rob the bank with a bomb around him. Why would I do that? If I want the money, why would I kill myself? Right? Give me all your money or I'll blow myself up. Well, then blow yourself up. Just do it outside, please. But the fact is, there's good people everywhere. That's what I try and show in my stand-up. There's good people everywhere. All it takes is one person to mess it up. Like a couple months ago in Times Square in New York, there was this Pakistani Muslim guy who tried to blow up a car bomb. Now, I happened to be in Times Square that night doing a comedy show. And a few months before that, there was a white American guy in Austin, Texas, who flew his airplane into the IRS building. And I happened to be in Austin that day doing a stand-up comedy show. Now, I'll tell you, as a Middle Eastern male, when you show up around a lot of these activities, you start feeling guilty at one point. I was watching the news, I'm like, am I involved in this? I didn't get the memo. What's going on? But what was interesting was the Pakistani Muslim guy, see, he gives a bad name to Muslims and Middle Easterners and Pakistanis from all over the world. And one thing that happened there was also the Pakistani Taliban took credit for that failed car bombing. My question is, why would you take credit for a failed car bombing? Like, we just want to say, we tried. And furthermore, it is the thought that counts. And in conclusion, win some, lose some. But what happened was when the white guy flew his plane into the building, I know all my Middle Eastern and Muslim friends in the States were watching TV going, please don't be Middle Eastern, don't be Hassan, don't be Hossein. And the name came out, Jack. I'm like, woo! That's not one of us. But I kept watching the news in case they came back. They were like, before he did it, he converted to Islam. Why, Jack? Why? But the fact is, I've been lucky to get a chance to perform all over the world. And I did a lot of shows in the Middle East. I just did a 7-country solo tour. I was in Oman, and I was in Saudi Arabia. I was in Dubai. And it's great. There's good people everywhere. And you learn great things about these places. I encourage people always to go visit these places. For example, Dubai, cool place. They're obsessed with having the biggest, tallest, longest, as we all know. They have a mall there, the Dubai Mall. It is so big, they have taxis in the mall. I was walking, I heard beep, beep. I'm like, what are you doing here? It was, I'm going to the Jarrah store. It's 3 miles away. Out of my way, out of my way, out of my way. And what's crazy, there's a recession going on, even in Dubai, but you wouldn't know by the prices. Like in Dubai, in the Dubai Mall, they sell frozen yogurt by the gram. It's like a drug deal. I was walking by, the guy, psst, Habibi, my friend. You want some frozen yogurt? Come here, come here, come here. I have 1 gram, 5 gram, 10 gram. How many gram do you want? I bought 5 grams, $10. $10. I was, what's in this? He's like, good stuff, man. Colombian, top of the line, top of the line. The other thing you learn sometimes when you travel to these countries in the Middle East, sometimes in Latin American countries, South American countries, a lot of times when they build stuff, there's no rules and regulations. For example, I took my 2-year-old son to the playground at the Dubai Mall. And I've taken my 2-year-old son to playgrounds all over the United States. And when you put your 2-year-old on a slide in the United States, they put something on the slide to slow the kid down as he comes down the slide. Not in the Middle East. I put my 2-year-old on the slide. He took off. I went down and go, where's my son? On the 3rd floor, sir, on the 3rd floor. You take a taxi, you go to Zara, make a left. Try the yogurt, it's very good. Little expensive. But one of the things I try to do with my stand-up is to break stereotypes. And I've been guilty of stereotyping as well. I was in Dubai, and there's a lot of Indians who work in Dubai. And they don't get paid that well. And I got in my head that all the Indians there must be workers. And I forgot there's obviously successful Indians in Dubai as well. I was doing a show, and they said, we're going to send a driver to pick you up. So I went down to the lobby, and I saw this Indian guy. I go, he's got to be my driver. Because he was standing there in like a cheap suit, thin mustache, staring at me. So I went over, excuse me, sir, are you my driver? He goes, no, sir. I own the hotel. I go, I'm sorry, then why were you staring at me? He goes, I thought you were my driver.
That was Maz Jobrani. I'm not a terrorist, but I've played one on TV. Let me talk about what after September 11 and how did you all think of Axis of Evil, which I think also launched your careers in the Arab world, which is not very much used to stand-up comedy.
Yeah, you know, we, in the year 2000, Mitzi Shore, who's the owner of the Comedy Store and Pauly Shore's mother, she's a Jewish-American lady, and she was watching the news, and there was the latest uprising, the Intifada with the Palestinians and the Israelis. This was in 2000. And she said that she felt like there was going to be a need for a positive voice for Muslims and people of that, you know, Middle Easterners and Arabs. And she felt that there's going to be a need for a positive voice from that group in the very near future. This is before September 11th. So she wanted to do a show where when you're at the Comedy Store, you perform maybe 5-6 nights a week. But every once in a while, she'll do a specialty show. She'll do the Black Comedians night. She would do the Latino night. So she wanted to do a Muslim night or a Middle Eastern night, and she called it the Arabian Nights. And she put me and Ahmed and Aaron Cater, who's half Palestinian, Sam Tripoli, who was Armenian. There was a bunch of comedians on it. And eventually, out of that group, Ahmed, Aaron Cater, and I started to tour together under the name of Arabian Nights. And then eventually, a few years later, we decided to rename it and take it out on its own and call it the Axis of Evil Comedy Tour, making fun of the term that Bush had given to Iran, Iraq, and North Korea. So we kind of lampooned that term, and we started doing the Axis of Evil Comedy Tour. And then when it came time to film the special, we invited Dino Bidala to be a part of that as well. So the four of us were on Comedy Central, and it was one of the first times where you saw a group of Middle Eastern Americans performing on American television together. Definitely the first time doing stand-up on Comedy Central, and it did. It really helped launch all of our careers as stand-up comedians. It feels like there was a void, like you just said. People from the Arab world and the Muslim world were looking for people to talk about what was on their minds. And then here we came, and people started taking our clips and putting on our YouTube, and that really helped us grow even more. And so, yeah, that was definitely a defining moment for all of us.
How did the Arab world discover you? Can you tell us about the first time you went there? Who approached you or all of you as a group?
Sure. We were found by there. I think part of it is the YouTube clips that were traveling. And then I also think that the DVD came out and people started to see it. So maybe 6 months or so after we had come out on Comedy Central, we got a call from some people out of Jordan that had a radio station, and they said they wanted to do a show with us. And then we also, Ahmed met a producer named Jamil Abu Warde, who was a producer at Showtime Arabia, which is a cable network in the Gulf area. So it was stationed out of Dubai. And Jamil said, hey, maybe we can buy the special and air it in the region. So they did. And so what happened was, because of the special airing in the region and because of people seeing us on YouTube, we were able to arrange a 5-country tour in the Middle East. And it was amazing because we were doing well in America, but when we went to the Middle East, we felt like rock stars because people were really interested. It was the first time there was a group of American comedians coming to the Middle East to do shows. And it was even better because we were Americans of Middle Eastern descent.
Let's take a short break. This is WMNF Tampa. And when we come back, we will be continuing our conversation with Maz Jobrani.
did a 5-country tour in Jordan. The King of Jordan came to the show. We did Lebanon, Kuwait, Egypt, and Dubai.
Did the people interact with you the way they do in the U.S.? Did you mind your language? Were you careful not to be politically, let's say, aggressive? Or, I mean, did you have to change your lines and words?
Yeah, a little bit. So what happened was a lot of the promoters would tell us, no sex, no religion, no politics.
Oh, gosh, what was left?
Yeah, we would say there's nothing left. But in reality, we realized they said no sex because a lot of these shows, it wasn't like a comedy club show. It was a show where people would bring their kids because it was a big, big event. So they basically were saying, do a TV-friendly set. So that was easy. No religion is just, the Muslim world is very sensitive about religion of any kind. So we didn't really have a lot of religious jokes. And when they said no politics, they meant no local politics. So you can be in Dubai and do a joke about the political situation in Lebanon. They don't care. You can be in Egypt and do jokes about Saudi Arabian politics. They don't care. But they were saying in the country, don't make fun of the leaders. And the honest truth was a lot of us didn't know that much about the local politics anyway. And secondly, we were talking to somebody who said, listen, this is very new for the region. Just by being here, you're pushing the envelope. So you don't need to worry about going further and trying to offend people or anything like that. So it all worked out. And it actually was the first time that stand-up really started taking off. And now when you go back to all these countries, there's young people doing stand-up comedy. But I think that we were there at the birth of it.
Let's listen to more of Maz Jobrani's stand-up comedy performed live in the U.S.
Oh, my God. But no, what I love about what we do with our show, you guys, is all about putting out the positive and expressing that we can come together and laugh. You know, like I always talk about this. You know, I'm originally Muslim, but I have friends from all religions, all ethnicities. And I've told them, man, you're celebrating in your religion. Let me know I'm coming. I'm celebrating with you. And I've done it. Yeah. Yes. Yeah. Yeah, man. I have Christian friends and Baha'i friends and Jewish friends, all of them. I celebrate. And my Jewish friend one time actually invited me over for Shabbat dinner one time, Friday night. Yes, I went, it was a great time. Gave me a matzah ball, I ate it, it was delicious. It was. Gave me a yarmulke, I put it on, it was cool. Yeah, but it was weird, because as soon as I put on the yarmulke, I started coming up with business ideas. Is that supposed to happen? My IQ increased by 20 points. My bank account doubled. It was strange. No, actually, I did come up with business ideas. So I put on the yarmulke and I'm bald. It started sliding. I was like, dude, you need like a Velcro yarmulke. And he's like, we can't do that. I go, okay, how about a suction cup yarmulke? That's a brilliant idea. Just lick it and have a nagila. No, man, it is. It's cool, though, you know. But like, and the thing that frustrates me is when I see us on TV nowadays, who they always show? They always show the crazy dude burning the American flag going, "Death to America!" Always that guy. Just once, I wish they would show us doing something good, man. Right? Just once, right? Yeah, man. Right? Show us doing something good, like, you know, like baking a cookie or something, right? Because I've been to Iran, we have cookies. Just once, I want CNN to be like, now we're going to go to Mohammed in Iran. They go to some guys like, hello, I'm Mohammed, and I'm just baking a cookie. I swear to God, no bombs, no flags, nothing. Back to you, Bob. Do the whole news piece. They're never going to do that. Even if they ever did that, they followed up with another news piece. They'd be like, this just in, a cookie bomb just exploded. Mohammed, you sneaky Parjan. Always, we get the bad end. Like in the World Cup. You guys watched the World Cup? You saw the World Cup, right? Right? The famous headbutt, you saw the headbutt, right? And it was the French dude, Zinedine Zidane, and the Italian dude, Materazzi, and it looked peaceful, and they were walking back, and Materazzi grabbed Zidane's jersey, you know, and Zidane turned to him and was like, you can have it after the game, you know, like to say like, oh, you are gay, let's go, you know, that kind of thing. Yeah, and the Italian guy was like, hey, I'd rather bang your sister. That's what he said. Yeah, and Zidane was like, you don't talk about my sister like that, you know? And he went over and he headbutted him, boom, right in the chest. And the Italian guy was like, ow, that hurt. And he went down. Yeah. But what I observed as a Middle Easterner, I watched the French reaction. And before the whole thing, the French loved Zidane. They were like, we love Zinedine Zidane. Zinedine Zidane is one of us. He's a French champion. We love him. He is the best. Zinedine Zidane, we call him Zizou. He is the champ. We love him. After the headbutt, they're like, this guy's Algerian. He's Muslim. We should have known it all along. You're crazy. We get the bad rap, man. You know who's doing well and breaking stereotypes, mainstream media, and I'm proud of them, are Asians. Breaking stereotypes, mainstream media. This is how I figured this one out. I was watching. There was a car commercial for Mercedes-Benz. And the drivers of the car in the commercial were Asian. Yeah, how crazy is that? Right, because the stereotype is Asians can't drive. That's the stereotype, right? But Mercedes was like, no, they can drive. They will drive. They'll drive our cars. Right? And I mean, if you want to read between the lines, you could say Mercedes was making a racist statement, you know. You could say Mercedes was saying, hey, we're a safe car. So safe, even Asians can drive it. But at least there's Asians in commercials breaking stereotypes, right? Middle Easterners aren't breaking stereotypes, not in commercials, right? You never turn on the TV, see like a United Airlines commercial with a Middle Eastern pilot. Right? You never see me stand there and go like, come fly the friendly skies. I dare you. See that?
If you're just joining us, this is True Talk on WMNF 88.5 FM, and we are talking to comedian and actor Maz Jobrani. And I advise you to, if you have long hours of driving like I do, please download his book, I'm Not a Terrorist, but I've played one on TV because the difference between listening to it, he is recording it, and you get the accent as well as the lovely stories. You have a lot of things you talk about your late father and your mom a lot. I hope she has not read the book, and that's my problem because when I wrote my book in Arabic, I was like mindful, please mom, don't kill me when I talk about you. But thank God they do have a sense of humor, although they are very strict on us.
I love having a mixed crowd, man. And like I was saying, I married an Indian woman, and woo. Yeah, man. It's funny because she grew up in America, so she doesn't do the hard, no accent, you know. My father-in-law has it. Every time my father-in-law comes, hello, Maz, hello, Maz. Nice to meet you, nice to meet you. Is that a letter in your language? Sounds like he's playing the santur. Nice to meet you. It's funny, we've met before, but every time he sees me, he says, nice to meet you. Again, I think that's a direct translation, you know, because I tried to correct him. I go, sir, we've met before. And then he tries to cover up by acting poetic. He goes, yes, but every time I see you, it is like meeting you again. Roses are red, violets are blue. Hello, Maz, nice to meet you. So I'm Iranian. My wife is Indian. Our nanny is Guatemalan. Our kids are confused. They don't know who is who or what is what. I swear to God. Like, they spend more time with the nanny than they do with us. Like, I think that they think that the nanny is their mother, me and my wife are the nannies. I swear, my son's 3.5 now. Every night when the nanny's leaving, he's got a Guatemalan accent when he talks. Once he's leaving, adios, mama. I'll see you later, mate. I'm gonna hang out with you two losers again. Adios, mama.
Oh my God! You know what? I say it's amazing. I say once you have a kid, they really make you so sensitive. And I just remember, I was never that sensitive because I think what had happened was growing up with an Iranian father. He had really, in an effort to try to get me to stop crying, he used to, when I would hurt myself as a kid, he would say, you know, men don't cry. So it got in my head that men don't cry. So it's just growing up, I would go to a movie, and it was like, I remember being in E.T. and everyone's crying, and I'm about to cry when E.T.'s leaving, but then I think to myself, oh no, he's just a puppet. And I take myself out of the moment just so I don't cry. So that was how I grew up. But then once I had my first kid, which was my son, I just became sensitive. It was amazing. I think they do it to you. And I was saying jokingly that, but it was true. I remember I was watching, there was a commercial for Tide detergent. And in the commercial, there's a father who's using a towel to dry his little boy. And I'm watching just the sweet gesture of what he's doing. And it makes me emotional. I start to tear up watching a Tide commercial. And I said, these kids, they ruin you. So
you're no longer the macho Iranian. Let me ask you, Maz, about breaking stereotypes and breaking social, racial, cultural barriers. I always believe that maybe comedy, music, film, food is way more influential and can reach the young people, especially here in the West. Do you think what you're doing and what the other gentlemen are doing is helping Do you find that there is a change, there is a shift between when you started, for instance, the comedy after September 11? I know you had several hecklers in the audience. You feel that something positive came out of what you're doing, you and your friends?
Yeah, I don't think that we get into it for that reason. I think you ultimately get into it because you just want to be funny and you want to be a comedian. But definitely, I think that if you look at a lot of other cultures, African Americans, the Latinos, Asians, all of them, when they had performers or athletes, or like you said, maybe other art forms that were able to touch the general public, it helped those cultures become more integrated in America. So you had Richard Pryor doing it for black people. You have George Lopez in a way doing it for Mexicans, and you have others from these groups as well. The beauty for me now is I look at it, and when I first started, there was maybe 3 or 4 of us doing stand-up comedy. Now there's a lot more, and the young people that are doing it are reaching people in other ways, and so it's about becoming integrated in the culture.
Any Jewish people here now? Any Jewish people? Here we go. Jews. I'm sorry. Are there any Palestinians? Wait, Palestinians? Okay. Oh, you guys are near each other. That's fantastic. That is beautiful. Only in Sweden would a Jew and an Arab sit next to each other. You guys should get the Nobel Peace Prize just for that. That's awesome, man. I love the fact that you guys are so close, and I hope you guys, the whole point is we got to get them together. You know what I'm saying, Eugene? And I don't like to get them too close. I don't like to get them too close because a lot of times fights break out when they get too close. And I'd like you both to behave tonight, by the way, okay? Palestinian, I don't want you throwing anything at the Jew. If you have rocks or, Molotov cocktails, you keep that to yourself. Jew, I want you to behave. Don't take her seat. That's her seat. Let her keep her seat. What? What did I say?
So yeah, I think it does definitely help, and I see it. My own audience is very mixed when I do a show, and it's great to see how comedy also is universal. So it's definitely a good way. I remember hearing D.L. Hughley say one time. He said that he heard comedy is like giving people their medicine, but you're giving it to them in orange juice, so they don't taste it. So that's a good way to do it.
One reason I ask about that in particular, because when I came to this country about 25 years ago, and a few years later, and up to another 10 years, people will always ask me about Not Without My Daughter. And when they, I am Arab, of course, I have to explain that I'm not Persian, I'm not from Iran. So, but still, the stigma that, we are abused wives, and the husband or the father can take away the daughter. I mean, the impact of that movie on me, and I'm not Iranian.
Yeah, absolutely.
So, can you talk about it, because you mentioned it in your book?
Well, in the book, I joke about how I think that it really messed up the chances of Iranian men finding dates for a long time. A lot of my friends in college just became Tony. They just became Italian because they don't want to deal with it. But the story was based on a true story, and it's the movie where Sally Field is married to Alfred Molina, and Alfred Molina plays an Iranian man, and she's American. And then they're in America. He's very nice. They go to Iran, and he flips, and he just becomes this overbearing, oppressive man, and he won't let her leave and wants to keep the daughter. And so you're right. I think a lot of Americans saw that, and they thought, "Oh, see, that's how they are." And I always say that's the problem with some of these parts where they depict us as villains and terrorists, because obviously we know that most people from that part of the world are not like that. But if you have that in your head, and then you see a movie and the person is a terrorist or doing something violent, you go, "See, I told you they're all like that." And we don't have the opposite. We don't have a sitcom or something that's more popular that the Americans and the people in the West can see and go, oh, look, they have good and bad, like any culture. So, yeah, that movie really hurt the dating lives of a lot of Iranian men.
Maz, finally, I want to thank you for being on True Talk, but where can people find more about you and follow your tours? I think you do have a website, if you can give it to our listeners.
Yeah, I've basically monopolized anything that's Maz Jobrani. So let me first spell the name so people know how to spell it. It's M-A-Z and then J-O-B, like boy, R-A-N-I. So Maz Jobrani, it's mazjobrani.com, has my calendar. They can join my newsletter. They can buy the book and all that other stuff there. I'm on Twitter at Maz Jobrani, Instagram at Maz Jobrani, Facebook.com/Maz Jobrani, YouTube.com/Maz Jobrani. So I've got a lot of presence online, and they can definitely find me.
Any projects you're working on?
I made a movie called Jimmy Westwood, American Hero, where I describe it as like the Persian Pink Panther meets Borat. It's a fun comedy, and it won a couple of awards at the Austin Film Festival for Best Comedy, and we're working on bringing it out either later this year or early next year. And then I just continue to tour. So if people are in different parts of the country, they can just go to my website and find the tour dates. I'm also doing a lot of Wait, Wait, Don't Tell Me, which is an NPR quiz show that I'm on from time to time, so they can find me on that. And that's it. And then trying to find time to be with my kids and not cry when I'm with them.
I hope so. Thank you, Maz Jobrani, author of I'm Not a Terrorist, but I've played one on TV, Memoirs of a Middle Eastern Funny Man. It's read by the author. It's fascinating to listen to him and his accent when he makes fun of Arabs. Thank you, Maz Jobrani, for being on True Talk. And please, when you become very famous in the U.S., more than you are famous, I hope you will come back to Tampa and come back to True Talk.
I will always do it. No problem. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Maz.
We love to celebrate life. We love to dance. A lot of people in the West don't know the people from that part of the world, Middle East, like to dance and laugh and celebrate. I swear, when I did the Actually Evil comedy tour, it came out on Comedy Central. I went online to see what people were saying about it. I ended up on the Sean Hannity website. It's a conservative website. One guy wrote another guy. He said, I never knew these people laughed. Because think about it, you never see, Middle Easterners laughing in American film or television, right? Maybe like an evil, like, whoa, I will kill you in the name of Allah. Oh. But never like, ha, 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 ha. We love to laugh. We love to dance. Oh, my God. Wherever we are, if we hear clapping, we have to dance. We could be on an airplane and the pilot has said, everyone fasten, we're about to land. Someone starts clapping, I have to dance. I can't. Just clapping. Try it. Next time you're landing, just start clapping. Some Middle Eastern guy will get him. We love to dance. The U.S. said they wanted to win the hearts and minds of the Middle East, so we attacked. We shouldn't have attacked. We should have sent over clapping troops. Just put them anywhere there's any trouble. Have them start clapping. The fighting will stop. Sunnis and Shiites killing each other in Iraq. Just go and clap. It'll stop. They'll be fighting. They hear the clapping. I have to dance. I kill you later. I'm dancing. I can't kill you right now. I'm dancing.
I want to thank you, Maz Jobrani, for being on True Talk, and I want to thank our listeners for tuning in. Hope to see you next week. This is WMNF Tampa, 88.5 FM. NPR News is next.
This is WMNF Tampa, 88.5 on the left side of your dial. Best little radio station on planet Earth. Stay tuned for The Scoop.